Here we go. All right, we are live. Hello and welcome everyone that is here in Marketing Tools and Tech. I'm really excited to bring to you today's featured expert. As you all know, we geek out over marketing, but specifically the tools and the tech that we use to market. And so I'm really excited to be bringing you a Messenger bots interview with marketing expert Mackenzie Lieberman. Hey, Mackenzie. So I'm gonna
hey, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Your bio really quickly so everyone kind of has an idea of who you are, and then afterwards you can kind of give us a little bit of a, if I missed anything, you can include some stuff. So Mackenzie, she didn't really go to school for digital marketing and grow up as a digital marketer. Now she's this wonderful digital marketer, right? She actually, her path was a little bit different from typical, right? So she's actually a clinically certified cytogeneticist. Okay, so I made sure to take that.
Yeah.
Cytogeneticist, and I still got it wrong. Okay, so she actually likes science, math, statistics, and tech, but she is very outgoing. And after a number of years of chromosome analysis, Mackenzie decided she didn't want to be stuck in a lab day in, day out for the next 3 decades. So I find it interesting that you took your background in science, combined that with your love of computers and tech, and then transitioned into digital marketing. And what's really cool is because you're an expert in messenger bots, those require a lot of analysis. You're able to kind of pull all that together. So could you kind of give us, I read a little bit from your bio and I kind of improvised just a little bit, but can you give us anything that I missed or anything that you'd like to share about you and how you made it to where you are right now?
Sure. Yeah. So one thing that is a big part of my life is also I have a family with kids. So I'm also that's actually been my driving force of trying to work myself out of this career that I thought I wanted to have. But I started to realize I liked being home with my family better than I did like going to a job. So I just a year and a half ago started into digital marketing with Facebook ads, and gradually over about 6 months started getting used to that. And then messenger bots, I jumped into that, and the rest is pretty much history. And it was just, 3 weeks ago, I quit my job as a cytogeneticist. Yes, full-time, making much more than I did, which is ironic because, I went to school for about 5 years. And I guess, I'm still using my technical brain, I guess, with the analysis and stuff. But I'm not like a lot of my lab mates, where a lot of them, for the most part, are introverted. I'm very outgoing. And I also like to do my own thing, so it was not a good fit. So that's pretty much
awesome. That's really cool to hear, especially hearing the fact that you recently quit your job and making more than what you were making in your full-time job. So going into like your business, could you explain to us and tell us exactly what it is that you do for your clients and the type of services that you offer?
Sure. So it started out mainly just being Facebook ads and messenger bots. So instead of going to landing pages, it's ads to bots. But the great thing is, because messenger bots are so new and so techy, or at least I make them sound that way, that I can charge more for that, saying, well, here's a bot. But, there's more work in doing that, because there's, having to fix things and watching to make sure things are running smoothly. So besides doing Facebook ads and bots, I'm also doing consulting. So teaching people how to do bots as well. There's some people that they just want to learn it, but also they know that the learning curve is really high. It took me probably 5 or 6 months really diving in, and with my ability to kind of get into it and understand it really well, it still took me a while. So being able to offer people to learn it faster has been one thing that people have really liked. And so, and also, with Facebook ads too, helping people do that. So there's 2 different parts. So it's great though, because it's all pretty much around bots for the most part. And then also because I was in the Manychat group answering questions all the time, they made me a moderator. So I'm in there as a moderator, also in their group. So that's always fun. Yeah. So,
okay.
So that's kind of the overview of what I pretty much do day in and day out now.
All right, so we'll get to Facebook ads in just a second. So starting with the messenger bots, a lot of people, and this is a very popular topic, a lot of people are saying, I want to learn about bots. I want to learn about bots. And I think messenger bots just became kind of in the forefront at the start of 2017 or like mid 2017. So there were some early adopters who kind of came on, and now I feel like it's coming a little bit more mainstream. So for everyone who is not tech savvy and they're trying to get started with messenger bots, what is their first step?
So first step is to choose a platform. The two main ones are Manychat and Chatfuel. And so when people ask me, well, which one do you choose? And I really like to say, well, my question is, what's your end goal in mind? So if it's, lead generation for the most part, Manychat is a lot easier to figure out. It's a lot less techy, I guess. But if you're wanting to do more connections, API connections with outside apps, different platforms and things like that, Chatfuel has a little bit more of an open API currently. So my first suggestion is going and getting an account for one of those. You can also compare cost. They have it different in terms of monthly cost depending on subscribers, total subscribers for all pages or for specific pages. So if you have an agency, take that into account as well. But for 99% of my clients, I use Manychat because it's lead gen for the most part with sequences, and it's easy to do. So first getting that, and then diving in with whichever platform you choose. A lot of people with me, with my group and with Manychat, they're saying, how do I learn? And I said, well, you dive in, or, I have free cheat sheets and stuff like that in 5-day mini course that people go through to learn the basics. But pretty much if you learn the basics of the bot and how things work, you'll also be able to troubleshoot when things go wrong as well.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about that with the basics. So I'm setting up my first bot, and I signed up for a Manychat account or Chatfuel or whatnot, and I opened it up and I'm staring at it. So what would be one of the first sequences that I would set up? Like what would be my first step essentially?
So first step is setting up the welcome message, which is what people see when they go to your Facebook page and they hit send message. So being able to have that first message and having it pretty generic, right? But not too in depth, because you want to find out what they're there for, if you can answer some questions and be also able to give them kind of an overview of what your page is about, or some frequently asked questions. It really does depend on your business and what best to provide. You can even set up a menu as well. That would maybe be step 2, is to have a menu so that if you have frequently asked questions, or if you have a menu item to help people to schedule calls, pretty much what would help to make your life easier with messages. So one way, and one thing I mentioned to people, is go through your messages that you currently have on your business page, find out what the top 2 to 3 items are that people ask and talk to you the most about, and think about how you can arrange that so it can be within a message itself, the welcome message, or within the menu item. So then that way people can kind of get through it themselves a little bit, and the bot will help triage and not only save you time, but also give the person looking for information their information faster. So then that way they're not waiting and not going to, your competitor.
So maybe if we're thinking of, kind of when we call a local restaurant and it says, press 1 for the hours, press 2 for menu options or something like that. So that's kind of what we're looking at for that initial interaction with the bot. Right?
Yeah, definitely. With my restaurant client, I actually have that set up in the menu. I have the location with the hours, also the menu, and then and online ordering too. So that way they can order online if they want, and it would just open up the website. It's really great.
Well, that's really neat. I didn't realize that you could do that in there. So, okay. Okay, so you've got your restaurant client. What other types of clients are using Manychat that you're working with, and how are they using that first welcome message?
So let's see. So I've done bots for so many different niches. Oh my gosh. One of them that's works really, really well with messenger bots is e-com, right? So just online drop shipping, Amazon stores, things like that, Shopify stores. Being able to have a link to the store is definitely one in the menu. Or you can have it in the welcome. It's kind of up to you if you want to use the menu and then just have something general for the welcome, or have it triage through the welcome message. And then being able to put in the option of maybe saying, oh, current specials or current coupon or something like that for an online store, right? Saying, so if they've gone to their welcome message, that they get that information. And another tip is if you have a business page that you want people to click to send you a message to become a subscriber, you can put in your cover photo saying, click send message below to get 20% off coupon code or something like that. And then when they click, and then they can end up getting that, and then that will also make them a subscriber to your bot. So then later on, you can send them messages that are, relative to what they're interested in, and be able to send them more promotions and just information, which is what you want, right? You want a lot of subscribers to do that too. So being able to do that for e-com is really great. You can do the same thing for, let's see, I have like chiropractors and dentists are pretty much the same thing, where usually with those welcome messages, I have it pretty being open, like saying, hi, first name, how can we help you? What are you looking for? Because it could be a lot of different things that they're asking about. And then as well with that, you can also have some buttons with maybe some commonly asked questions like location, like that for, the brick and mortar store thing. But pretty much with whatever your main questions are that you get, that you can just put that in the welcome or the menu, and that will seriously save you so much time. It's wonderful.
Okay. So, and you mentioned giving them a button so that they can actually become a subscriber. And that's essentially my next question, which is, how do we actually get bot subscribers so that we can contact them again and over again?
Definitely. So there's a few ways. The most, I guess, efficient way and the quickest way is through targeted Facebook ads with an offer or a giveaway, something like that to get people into your bot. Really works well as those giveaways, say comment below with, some comment, or ask a question like, what's your favorite color, comment below with it, and you'll be entered in to win something. And then being able to then offer them a coupon code for entering in as a thank you. So that works really well with Facebook ads. The other way is if you are online business and you have, or even if you're like an online personal trainer, something like that with athletics and exercise, that you can actually use a link that goes straight to your bot that has a cheat sheet. So that's actually how I built most of my subscribers, is through with Manychat, with me answering questions, and people are saying, help, I need help with this. How do I learn about bots? I'm like, here, I have a free mini course that you can take. Here's the link. And then they go and download the 5-day challenge or the 5-day mini course, and then they become a subscriber that way. And then that way I can, let them know about future things. And then the other great thing is then at the bottom of that, then I have say, hey, if you want to join my free Facebook group, you can join it and then learn some more awesome information. And so then that's also another funnel into my group. Not only is it funneling into my bot with more subscribers, but also into my group. So those are the two main ways that I found that work really well. You can also set up buttons on your website. One of my clients, he's gotten thousands of subscribers from his website, from people being able to download that, a free PDF to help them with the resume. And wow. So just doing it that way, where it's on the website, and then people just get into the bot that way. So website traffic, if you have a huge email list, you can send out the link to your bot in an email, and then that way you can utilize some of that email traffic to get them more engaged in the messenger bot as well.
So essentially starting with something that you're giving away, whether it's an actual giveaway of an item and having them to comment on it, or if you're maybe a service provider, having like a PDF or something of value that you're giving them that they can actually download, that they can use, they can read, and then they become a subscriber.
Exactly.
So speaking of bot subscribers, how do we avoid spam subscribers?
Yes, that is
random messages. I'm in the group that you have, and I like when you post the random messages that people are sending. Those are hilarious. So how can we filter those people out?
Okay, so Yeah, there are some crazy messages sometimes that I see with clients. I think part of it is they don't think that it's a real person, maybe, or they think it's just a bot. So when they send something like send nudes, it's like, there's people reading this. Random. So one thing that really helps is when you segment your audience, right? So especially also depending on what your service or your product is, if you can pinpoint and niche down your subscribers to what they are specifically interested in, that will really help that, future messages are targeted to just those people, to stuff that they want to know about. That will also help decrease the amount of people who unsubscribe from your bot, because, if you're paying money for ads and people end up just unsubscribing, then that's money down the drain. So being able to be targeted is really important. The other thing is not being spammy. It's not email. You could send 3 to 4 emails a day and it's not necessarily considered spammy. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not seen as such, right? But with a messenger bot, if you send a message a day, you're going to start getting a ton of unsubscribes. Yeah. Even if you have a huge list and you haven't sent out a message in a while, and then you do, I expect a lot of unsubscribes because people aren't used to getting your messages. So be aware of that. But it's okay to get unsubscribed because you're possibly weeding and hopefully weeding out the people that aren't your ideal target, right? But it's also a good number to keep track of to make sure that it's not just keeps happening, because if it is happening a ton, then you might want to scale back on your frequency of messages, or make sure you're tailoring your messages to your audience and what they want. Because if they're not getting value from your messages, then they're just going to bounce, because they're having to open their messenger that they're talking to their friends and family on. And if it's stuff that they're not interested in, then they're going to be like, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to unsubscribe.
So speaking of that and the type of value that you're providing, what messages beyond that first welcome message, like we know what to put in that, but after that, and they're a subscriber, like what do we actually talk to them about? What messages are we sending them on a consistent basis? How often? What do we do to keep that subscriber, continue giving them value, and keep them engaged?
So I always, the other thing is you have to work around Facebook spam rules, which is considered what they call 24+1. So you don't want to be spammy, because Facebook will then block your page from being able to message, and then it's then a disaster, right? So how that rule works is you can send promotional type of messages within 24 hours of somebody last interacting with your bot. The +1 is allowing you one additional message as like a follow-up sort of thing. So, but there's, you think, okay, well, if you have subscribers from like 5 months ago and they haven't interacted, in the last day, then how do you send messages to them? Well, what you do is you can end up sending relevant questions too. And so if you ask, for example, my restaurant client, I got subscribers from way back in August for a giveaway. And so in December, he wanted to run an ad for a dozen tamales for like $25 or something, right? So the subscribers that were there since August, and I wanted to re-engage them, I just sent them a picture of tamales, and I said, quick question, first name, do you love tamales? And I had a button that said yes. If they hit yes, then I said, okay, great. Here is our special that we're running for the month of December. Would you be interested in purchasing a dozen tamales for $25? Oh, and awesome. I got a bunch of people that were from an ad from August, well, between August and October, that they purchased tamales. I think I had over $150, $200 worth of tamales orders from these people that were customers over the last 4 months that he already paid for with ads. So it's like re-engaging that way. So having it relevant and fun. And I always also suggest that you have valuable content that you provide 80% of the time, and then 20% that kind of soft sell type of thing. It helps to improve people's like, knowledge, and trust of the business, and that you're the expert. So for like a realtor, it's really good that, you find out, you segment people who are your buyers, who are your sellers, or people who are wanting to, do both, that they want to sell their house and buy a new one. Being able then to correlate with that, the content that you want to send them. So like for buyers, having, okay, here's, PDFs of houses that you might want to check out. Here are some other tips and tricks that you want to look for when you're buying a house, things like that, to not only show to the person that you're the expert, that you know what you're talking about, but then also keeping you as the business owner top of mind. So when they're ready to sell or to buy, and buy whatever product or service you have, that you're the first one that they come to mind, or that comes to their mind because you've been in their messenger inbox.
So I think this is awesome. A lot of people are really seeing the power of messenger bots, as far as once you get those subscribers, you may have paid for them the first time, but then once they become a subscriber, you can talk to them over and over and over again, making sure that you're following the promotional rules versus sending a subscription broadcast versus sending a follow-up. I think that's really cool what you did about just asking them that question that's not promotional at all, like, hey, do you like tamales? And then re-engaging them. So if, someone is for the business owners that are out there that are trying to set up their messenger bot and they're trying to start gathering their subscribers, what sort of ad, and I know we kind of talked about giveaways, but what sort of ad do they need to create? So starting to talk about Facebook ads, what sort of ad do they need to create? Is it video views, engagement? Is there a special ad that they create in order to get messenger subscribers?
Yeah, so the way that messenger bot ads work is you find your end goal in mind and then you work backwards. But to keep this in mind, with messenger bot ads, you don't have the pixel to rely on for retargeting, because you can't put the pixel in Messenger yet. I'm hoping that Facebook will start to do that. But because of that, the way to retarget, or to try and retarget, is using video ads. I always suggest video ads, because then you can retarget on the percentage of video watched at least, and then you can also exclude people who have messaged your page in the past. So with that audience, you can kind of hopefully get those people who have watched that specific video but haven't messaged yet, to try and bring them into your bot list. But with that said, once you have a video ad, you can do, there's technically 4 different growth tools, at least with Manychat, that you can utilize for your ads. But the 2 main ones are the comment growth tool, which that's, just for the objective would be post engagement, because you just want people to comment. You don't want them to click on anything and go off onto another site. So having that where you just call to action is, comment below with, your favorite color. The other thing on that aspect is Facebook recently came out saying they're going to crack down on what's called engagement bait, which pretty much is, you can't be asking for all these likes and comments and shares and stuff. Facebook themselves, they don't really know what constitutes engagement bait. I actually talked to a Facebook ads person, and I said, hey, you guys just came out with this a couple days ago. What's the ruling on this if I'm going to do an ad for a gym and I want to do a free PDF for some recipes? Would that still be considered engagement bait? And she had no idea even what I was talking about. I'm like, this is wonderful. Yeah. So she did tell me though that they are working on mainly trying to get the people and the pages that are the worst offenders with that are, it's like really like horrible engagement bait where they're not giving any value, right? So in my example with the gym giving some great value in terms of recipes to help people with their nutrition in the new year, that's way better than, tag a person below that you think looks like this girl in this picture. I mean, or
the like and share and say amen below if you agree. I get those in my feed.
And you know what's funny?
Like, amen.
And it's funny because people who run those ads and those bots, they post it in the Manychat group showing their dashboard saying, see how many subscribers I got? And it's like, people are like, how did you do it? And they did a screenshot. I'm like, seriously, you are providing zero value to your subscribers. Like, how are you supposed to, it's ridiculous. So anyways, commenting is one way. With the comment growth tool, it's great because then with the ad, and here's the other benefit and why people do this a lot and why there's a lot of offenders, is because the increased engagement will then increase the relevancy score of the ad, which will then decrease the ad cost and reach more people. So it's like a win-win for the business owner, but then can be kind of horrible for the potential user because it's, horrible. It's just engagement bait or whatever. So that's the one with the common growth tool. The other one, which works really, really well, is the JSON growth tool. And that's pretty much creating a messenger as a destination ad within Facebook. And they currently have, and I think Facebook is actually trying to work their way to being in the messenger bot space, which doesn't surprise me. It's their own platform. But it's has some default wording and messages in there if you're creating a messenger ad, which the two objectives are either messages or traffic, with the destination being messenger. And so you have to go in and delete all the JSON code, which it's kind of like JavaScript. It's a little different, but most people, they don't want to have to try and learn webhooks and post back and all this, different language. And so the great thing is with Manychat, they have a growth tool that you put in your message of what you want to send when someone clicks on the ad, and then they'll just give you all that code and you just copy and paste it, which is wonderful. You don't have to do all that extra stuff. But the great thing about this ad type, the JSON ad type, is when people click on your ad, it just opens up automatically a message. So the message that you're sending will automatically open it in their window or whatever. So that helps in terms of compared to like the link one, people have to hit the get started button, things like that. So it's one less step and it just automatically opens it, which is great. So between those two, if someone's just starting with ads with Manychat or just bots in general, I would suggest the JSON or the comment growth tool, just because those are the two highest converting ones. And choose which one of those depending on what your offer is. And if you think you'll get a lot of engagement, then choose a comment one. If you think you'll just get a lot of clicks, then choose the JSON one.
So I know for the comment one, when someone comments on the post, they don't automatically become a subscriber. So how do you get around that so that you can actually turn them into a subscriber?
Exactly. So when they become, or when they comment on the post, what happens is it'll send the first initial message to them with also a picture of the post that they just commented on. And that is a Facebook setting. People are like, how do I not have this link there? I'm like, well, talk to Facebook. That's just how they have it. Because they want to remind their users what they commented on and why they're getting this random message. Because there's a lot of people who don't say, hey, comment and you'll receive this in Messenger, which you're supposed to say. But a lot of people don't. So what I usually do is, to become a subscriber, you have to either comment on within Messenger, like send a reply, or click a button. Well, with the comment growth tool, there's no button. So you always ask people in that initial message saying, just to confirm that you're entering XYZ contest, comment yes below, just so that we know that you really want to. And don't click the link below, because a lot of people will click that link. So if you stay in the call to action, don't click the link, then most people will respond to it. And then once they respond to it, then they will get your next message that you want to give them and will become a subscriber that way.
Yeah. When I was setting up I did a comment growth tool to get people into the marketing tools and tech group. And I shared the freebie, which was like the number one business system you can set up in 10 minutes or something like that. And so after they commented, my first message was, is it okay if I send it to you via Messenger, in order to get them to say yes, so I could add them as a subscriber. One of the things that I really like about Messenger is that you can get immediate actions, immediate reactions, and it's like it's instant messenger, right? Mm-hmm. So what sort of things are you asking for in your call to actions for your clients, or even for your own bot? What sort of things are you asking for that you're noticing that people are running right away and rushing to take action as soon as they get that message?
So it depends if it's a message that's from an ad or if it's a message from a broadcast or a sequence. So if it's an ad, people are usually right there and will click right away because it's, fresh in their mind, because you got to think, the whole attention span of people are so short, right? Whereas, if it's a broadcast that you're sending out unannounced to people, it's really good to make sure that you have a clear call to action and that you're providing the value or showing them the value of what it is. The other thing I've learned is it seems ridiculous that, there's a button there, they should know to click the button, but I almost always now have to say, click the button below to get people to click. And it also depends on the audience. If it's a tech savvy audience, that's really good. If you're going, obviously, if I'm sending messages to people who are marketers or people who are interested in messenger bots, for the most part, I don't have any issues with people, not knowing the button there to click it. But with my restaurant client, like that one about, do you love tamales? I had people typing in all caps, yes, I do. I'm like, great, hit the button. I'm just like, okay. And then also with this other client that I'm working with who helps PhD students find jobs out of academia into industry, Same, PhD students, they're really smart, but man, they just like to respond and type instead, instead of hitting a button. So I have to make sure that the call to action is super clear, using emojis, with the down pointing finger and the side pointing fingers, like click here, it's like if it could flash would be even better. But having that type of thing, it will really help. And then having the message being relevant, obviously, to what they want. You can include scarcity as well, saying, hey, this is going to expire within X amount of time. Make sure you click below to get it before it expires. That way to, initiate to try and get people to take action.
So, so now that you got your messenger bot set up, you've got the welcome message, maybe you're sending broadcasts or whatnot. A lot of times people do start having conversations as if there's a human being on the other side. And,
yes.
and maybe you've got thousands of subscribers and you're not seeing all of those messages. How do you balance making your bot seem more human with reminding the people on the other side that, hey, I'm not actually getting these messages. So you can't just ask questions and expect me to respond right away. So how do you manage that balance?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to do that. One way is, I always tell people when you're starting out with your bot too, you want to figure out what your bot personality is going to be. Are you going to say that your bot is a bot and give it a name and saying this is, like one of my clients is an author and she wants to have a picture of her cat and have her cat be like the bot person. So I'm like, okay, that works. So then that way, referring to her in the third person, which works. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But then, having that instance, then people will realize they're not speaking to her directly. So having that figured out, ground floor stuff is the best way to go. But most of my bots, including my bot, I speak in the first person, but I realized really fast, especially once I got a ton of subscribers and people going through my 5-day evergreen challenge where it's just like constant messages. There's no way I can scroll through all of those to find, when someone's asking me a question. Yep. But the great thing is in Manychat, under the live chat feature, you can actually have it so that whenever somebody comments or asks a question that the bot does not recognize as, to send a message for, it will put it in that section. So then that way I just have to check that section and see if there's any, questions or anything. And then that way I don't spend countless hours scrolling through messages and trying to find out, if anybody had asked a question.
That makes sense. Absolute sense. So this has been really helpful, Mackenzie. And like you were saying, you do have a 5-day challenge as well as a free bot course that I'm going to share the link for you guys in the description. Can you tell us a little bit more about the free bot course that you have?
Yeah, so the free bot course, pretty much if you're starting out brand new with Manychat, it is the way to go. It goes over, the welcome message and shows you screenshots of where we're at in Manychat to set this stuff up. And also talks about how you would use some of the things. So, sequences, tips and tricks. And I even give more tips and tricks in the bot as well to say, hey, remember this and make sure you keep track of this. And then in that challenge or in the mini course, I also have a link that goes to a best tips to set up your bot for success as well. So thinking of the big picture in mind so that you don't have to go back and spend time redoing stuff. If you would have thought about the big picture and be like, dang it, and now I'll have to go tag a bunch of people. If I would have thought about that first, then I wouldn't have had to go do this. So that's pretty much what it gives is, everything about welcome message, growth tools, sequences, keywords, which are, really awesome to use for, like, it's the closest thing to AI. And then, just pretty much how, if you follow that, you will have a bot set up that you can use.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them below this video, and I will be here answering the questions. If you have more questions for Mackenzie specifically, she actually does have Marketing with Messenger Bots group. Did I say that correctly?
Yep.
Okay. And I will leave the link in the description. So if you want to go more in depth with Messenger Bots, that's definitely where you want to be. She shares a lot of value inside of that group. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks. See ya.